Hello there and welcome back to another video. It is Wednesday again at the time of recording. As you can see, there's a nice droider cut on the calendar for today, and I have made my own, but that is a topic for another time, as we have the penultimate episode of Ahsoka coming out today, or yesterday if you're seeing this video on the day it's uploaded. But that of course means another Ahsoka MOC. And just before I get into the Ahsoka MOC, you can see the desk has changed. This is the desk, well, I guess a mat on the desk. This isn't a photo or something I've applied after filming. And I was able to pick it up for real cheap. It was £5 something on Amazon and only took the best of a week to get here. But as you can see, it is a very nice background, very different to just the white. And especially with all the colours present in this, not only will my LEGO builds hopefully stand out just as much as the white background, but also it helps with the exposure on my camera. As you can see in videos, it flickers sometimes, the white is brighter than other moments, and having a colourful background just really helps with that. And especially when I'm showing off LEGO, having all the colours in the background just makes it a bit more pleasing than just the plain boring background. So I hope you enjoy the new backdrop for my desk, and do comment below what you think of it, as I think it's a really cool design. Not only is it very detailed, but you've got most of the characters from episode 1 through 6. You've got a few Clone Wars characters such as Rex, you've got Ahsoka, and you've even got Bane and Savage here. You've even got Thrawn from Rebels, and plenty of the Rogue One crew, and even Solo just off to the right here. And there's actually a droidica just off down here to the left, so I really do like this mat. It's a shame there's no sequel characters, but clearly the artist that put it together didn't include them for some reason, and I just enjoy that it's centered around episode 1 through 6, as that is my favourite. I mean, really 1 through 3 is my favourite era of Star Wars, but you can never fault the originals. And whilst they're still flushing out the sequels and Mandoverse and everything in between, I think it was a good idea to cap it at episode 6, otherwise this would just keep going on and going on. If you've seen my minifigure display, you'll see how many minifigures I have, and half of these haven't been made in LEGO. But anyway, let's get on to today's LEGO Ahsoka MOC, and there it is. Now, don't let the looks be deceiving. It's not just merely the Star Destroyer Microfighter, as it's definitely what's underneath that matters, but we'll look into that in a minute. I'd just like to say, this Microfighter for the Star Destroyer has been sitting on my shelves for ages, and I really wanted to modify it some way to make it different from the LEGO set. As you've seen my recent videos, you've seen my ATRT, my Bark Speeder, and even my builds from all you guys. The Tri-Droid and the Microfighter for Din's N1 that I have modified and used Pixel Dans again. Check out that video, it is a really good upgrade. So I wanted to upgrade this model as well, and thought, you know what? With Ahsoka, we see Thrawn and the return of his Star Destroyer. We saw that last week. And before I get too carried away, there will be spoilers for this week's episode of Ahsoka. If you follow Star Wars, you've seen it all by now. As soon as the episodes air, they're posting on all their socials and giving everything away, especially with a certain character's return a few weeks ago. But I guess they don't really care about spoilers too much anymore. It's interesting to see Star Wars themselves post about it, because you'd think they'd wait for more people to see the episode. But I guess it's big enough now that if you don't see it day one and you have access to the internet, according to Star Wars, it's your fault. Hopefully none of you are getting spoiled, but let's continue with today's MOC. And of course I have altered the bottom, so let's pop the Star Destroyer off its base, which is just held on by one stud in this Technic hole, which does line up nicely with the rest of the build. I have actually replicated the little mountain that the Star Destroyer stands on, and having watched today's episode, I now understand that this is the wrong way round and should be this way round, but it's not too big of a problem that I'm that fussed with it. And I also built just this white column to hold it in place. I could have used some clear bricks, but they're currently tied in to the sides of my T6 cockpit, which I have built in a previous week's MOC, and next week I'll be showing all 4 of my MOCs. This, the diorama, the Microfighter, and next week's MOCs, which is yet to be decided, but I'm sure it'll be just as cool as any other week. With this Star Destroyer, you can see obviously I've seated Thrawn in, and that is the main thing that gives it away from the top, that it's Thrawn's Star Destroyer. But the main giveaway for Thrawn's Chimera, if I don't break it before I can show you, is the underside of his ship, which I'll put a logo up on screen now. You can see it's some sort of squid alien that's crawling along the bottom of his ship, and not only does it have all the tentacles out the back and these two sort of pincers or like giant teeth going out to the side, but also got its wiggling tentacles that go all the way up the side of the ship. And that's really what I've tried to recreate here. I've made sure all the pieces join up so you can definitely see that this is no ordinary Star Destroyer. But how I've created this is just taken off the bottom of the Microfighter and then added some brackets onto the bricks where the gaps are between the bricks. And in fact, if I pop this off, you'll be able to see that, especially on the back here, all I've done is added some jumper Technic studs to put this 2x8 tile on. And then up here, I've got the 2x2 bracket holding this in place. And you can see just underneath it, it's actually a window panel that Thrawn is sitting in, as you can get minifigures to sit in them. And why they didn't use it originally just to flush out the bottom of this Star Destroyer, I really do not know, as they could have included a brick here, perhaps made the whole thing grey, have a nice flush bottom, and then it would sit perfectly on any surface without giving it the little base. But perhaps they wanted the base to let it float like I have created my own. And again, this isn't level because it does actually sit on this bottom bit here, and that makes it level with the rest of the ship. So now if I put it all back together, hopefully you can see just how much it resembles Thrawn's Chimera. Again, I'll whack another picture on screen. And with its return in Ahsoka last week, it was definitely a MOC I had to make, and especially as I had created the Thrawn minifigure to go alongside with it, I thought I had to create it for this week's MOC. If I had the pieces to create a custom Ezra, I probably would have done that as well. But I am currently looking into getting another Spaceman figure and looking back at the purple one, which I'll put a picture of on screen. Actually, no I won't. I've got a better idea. I've got it right here. If we got this head mold and this hairpiece, which if you do take off this sort of helmet hairpiece, it does look a bit funny. But if we got these in a different colour, these would be great to make the little rock people that are with Ezra. And we could have got them with some shorter legs and perhaps even a little rock backpack, which they could have just used the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, as I know it's more of a shell, but it definitely would do the trick as far as just creating these to have in the background of a set. And especially when it comes to Lego accuracy, they're not always precise, so it would have made a great minifigure and just needs a recolor of this head, which it may exist. I will definitely take a look on Bricklink after this video, so I'll leave that there to remind me. But today's episode was crazy. I mean, it starts off with Hera in some sort of Senate troubles, being questioned for her role by none other than Kazuda Xiono's dad. And Mr. Xiono is completely against all this hearsay about Thrawn and doesn't think he's going to return. So if Thrawn does make it back to the known galaxy, he'll definitely be in for a surprise. It will be interesting to see where we end up next, because Ahsoka, Sabine and Ezra have reunited. Thrawn's ship is about 90% of the way ready to go, so they've got less than half a day, sort of a few hours left before they can make the jump. Balon's sort of gone haywire. He left Shin to go attack Ezra and Sabine all by herself, and then Ahsoka showed up and he had this duel, which I think was more a duel internally than externally, as I don't really see him going back to Thrawn, especially with Thrawn knowing he sort of went against orders. But Thrawn's got all the information on Ahsoka. It'll be interesting if they do meet or at least speak over some comms, something like that. And I also realised that the Ring of Sion is just a hyperspace ring for the Star Destroyer. We see them in the Clone Wars for the smaller Jedi shuttles, but we haven't seen one this size, and it does have 5 hyperdrive cores, which is definitely needed, as I'm sure Thrawn's one is completely busted after the giant jump they make at the end of Rebels. But it's getting very close. We don't know who we're going to see return to the galaxy, and I'm just excited for the finale next week. Again, I'll be showing off all my MOCs in not so much detail, but enough so if you haven't seen any of the previous weeks, so subscribe for that, turn on notifications so you don't miss when the video's up. And of course, today is Wednesday, so by the time you've seen this video, the Fortnite skin for Ahsoka will be up, and I'll definitely be playing my fair share to try and unlock it quickly. Keep an eye on the community tab to know when I do have it unlocked. And if you do play Fortnite, let me know what your favourite Star Wars skin is, as at the minute I'm definitely playing a lot with Maul. For this video, that is all. Do leave a like if you enjoy, and I hope you enjoy this MOC series, as I am making a load of customs, and when Ahsoka goes, it will be a shame that I don't have that regular Wednesday period, so definitely hold on for Acolyte, Skeleton Crew. I think we have Bad Batch popping up sometimes, and even Andor Season 2, which might be next year. I have to check the dates on that. But there is definitely so much more LEGO MOCs to come, and even in the next few weeks I'm going to be dabbling outside of Star Wars. I might do a Marvel one. I'm trying to look at doing a Minecraft one. That's a bit harder than most. But let me know what you think of Thrawn's Chimera down in the comments below, and especially if you like the stand and the details on the bottom, as that is what I've changed from this Microfighter. This will go next to the N1 and next to my other Ahsoka MOCs. So stay tuned for next Wednesday. Please do hit the subscribe button. I know over 10% of you are subscribed, but that still means there's nearly 90% of you that aren't. So let's hit the subscribe button and get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. And may the bricks be with you always.